But in some cases, just being able to look at the rule isn't going to solve your problem for you. You know, you look at the rule and you say, well, that looks like it's okay. Or you're running into an issue where your rule set's completing fine, but the data that's coming out is incorrect. So maybe you have a calculation incorrect somewhere, or just the number that you're ending up with at the end doesn't seem like it's coming out how you think it should. So another way that you can kind of debug your rule set issues is by looking at trace files. Now to enable a trace file, you'll want to come down here to your preferences, and here you can see tracing level. Right now I already have it turned on, it said it's detailed, but you can also, typically you'll want to leave this as no trace, otherwise the folder where your trace files are being um, created to, it can build fairly quickly if you have a lot of configurations going on throughout the day. So normally you're going to want to leave that at no trace, but as you can see you have your different tracing levels. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on detailed. Now what you want to do is, typically your trace files are going to write to the content folder, but it can be different for all systems depending on where you specify where you want that to be. So in order to tell where your trace files are being written to, you can just come into Enterprise Manager and open the Properties window. You'll select the Preferences tab, and at the very bottom you'll see Trace Path Root. And right here it's going to tell you the directory where all your trace files are being written to. And for me, this is, again, it will be in my Content Traces folder. So I'll go ahead and open that up just so you can take a quick look at what the trace files look like if you haven't already done so before. So I have them writing into my channel sales content folder. Here you'll see the traces. And another reason why it's a good idea to leave them off is, you know, as you can see, we have a lot of trace files in here. It can be hard to locate where your trace file is, especially if you have multiple people on the system at once. Luckily, I went in here right after I did the configuration, so just by looking at the time, I can tell that this is my trace. So this is a fairly small trace because I'm using a fairly simplistic rule set to show you an example. These trace files can get very large, so once again you'll want to utilize your search function, and I will look for the rule that I had the error on. So if you're looking through, you can see that it's going to show me the same error that I received on when I was running through my configuration. But if you're running into a problem where your calculations were incorrect, or you think one of the conditions is evaluating incorrectly, you can look through and it's going to show you every rule that's executed, what the final result of that rule was, and depending what is included in there, what the variable is evaluated to. So this can be very helpful if you're running into errors where your calculations are coming out incorrect. You can go through and look at each rule and see what they're evaluating as. The last thing that I wanted to show you is that on our support site we have utilized RSS feeds so that you can be updated every time that a hotfix is published. So if you don't already have a login, please contact us. You can either contact myself or you can contact us at support@tdci.com, and we'll be happy to create a login for you to the support site. As well as RSS feeds, there's a lot of helpful information. We have our knowledge base. There's the videos section, which I include all the presentations that we've given so far. But if you scroll down at the very bottom here, you'll see the RSS feeds. And all you need to do is you can click on them. It's going to show you all the RSS feeds that we published, and just subscribe to the feed. And this way, every time that we publish a hotfix, you'll be notified and you can go ahead and download it. It's a great way to keep your system up to date And it helps us when we're trying to debug your problems. Probably the first thing we'll say is what hotfix are you on, and how can we get you up to speed on the most recent hotfix. So it's a great way to keep your system up to date and be notified as well. But do we have any questions as far as applying hotfixes?
Yes, I have a question. If you miss one hotfix, do you have to apply that, or could you take only the latest? Or do you have to take them all of them in order?
Yeah, you'll want to apply all the hotfixes in order, just to make sure that you've gotten everything. If you apply them out of order for the standalone, in most cases you'll be okay, but it's a best practice to apply them in order.
Okay.